Hello, Tim's RV Tips here with a big change in our lives. We went to the Hershey RV show and saw all these great camper vans for $150,000. Well, of course, Tim says I can build that for a lot less. So what I'm going to show you is how we bought this 2015 Sprinter van, and I'm going to put in an aluminum floor in it with a poured marine foam. I want to have it insulated well with this urethane closed cell foam, and how we remove the old floor, cut this aluminum, how we purchased the aluminum, and hopefully it'll be, inspire others to do something kind of outside the box. I have never seen this done before, except in boats. So here we go. Thanks for listening. We scoured the country for a Sprinter van that would meet our needs. I wanted to get one with less miles on it. The high top extended, a 24-foot length. They were kind of hard to find with low miles and a decent price. This was a converted hair salon, so it did have to be cleaned up a little bit. The floor was removed here, removed a bunch of screws, and then started pulling up the old Sprinter floor, the original floor. And here's the floor had about almost an inch of wood and the original underlayment, including this asphalt material that is of no insulation value whatsoever. So I'm surprised. I guess it kept it from rattling, but this was all removed in place of the marine foam that I bought from U.S. Composites. This foam was a lot of videos out there on the web about pouring this in boats for flotation and other support for boats. But when used in, I figured I'd fill all the gaps, all the little nooks and crannies in the van floor, which there are just, thousands of them. And so I bought this, actually a 6-pound kit. This is showing a 4-pound kit. And what that means, 4 pounds per cubic foot. And so it expands, the foam expands just like any other polyurethane or polyiso foam, except it has structure up to, as it shows there, up to 90 psi for the 4-pound kit. With the combination of the aluminum floor, which I bought here at Moses Glick here in Fleetwood, Pennsylvania, they have a lot of scrap aluminum. They sell it by the pound. So not paying a lot for this aluminum. This was a 6063 T6 and a very, very strong floor, which instead of having a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch wood floor, we go with a 1/4 inch aluminum floor and save that headroom. So it's a very good alloy that they had just sitting here, and like I say, selling it by the pound. So in the next frame, there's a worker there. I drove the van in, and he helped me select the right piece of aluminum. It was 20 feet by 5 feet, which actually works pretty good on the cutting in the van. However, we had to cut it in half too, and it was weighed at the station there. And since they charged by the pound, we had approximately 179 pounds on the weight. I think it's $1.60 a pound, something like that. Once I got it home, I started cutting polyiso foam spacers to put in, and cemented them down onto the floor of the van. Then the aluminum was cut and laid out. There was holes, 1.5 inch holes cut every foot, and then weights getting ready for the foam to be poured. This is a type of hole, so I'd mix up little plastic scrap containers, make sure the temperature was good. I had to put heater in the van, a quartz heater, and all the holes were poured with foam. After that, it was trimmed using just a reciprocating saw here, and that was a pretty easy part. The problem, however, was that the foam had jacked up the floor too much, and so the floor had to be removed, and it had to be planed. So it was, quite an effort to get this out, trimmed out, and clean up all these little pieces of foam that were trimmed off. But it had to be done. I wanted to limit the height above the spacers here to, just the 2 inches that they were. And so once the floor was pulled up, you could see it and plane it got actually a wood saw, one of those 2-inch old-fashioned wood saws, and started to plane down and first cut the excess off that I could see, and then start planing it down with a regular wood planer, because this is very shapeable. It's an advantage of it. If you do make a mistake, you can always cut it back. Cut this with a saw flush with the floor, with the original floor, and you can see the spacers kind of are your guide to making it 2 inches above the van floor. So another issue I had was just filling the step. So the step was uninsulated all around, so something had to be done to get it insulated. So I used the foam technique again here with a blocking, and you see cut right wax paper there, and tape, and just make sure that it could be released from the forms that I made, kind of like when they pour concrete. Some of the foam dripped into the door track area, both in the front and back, and then had to be chipped out. But again, it's pretty formable with the right tools. Just actually a screwdriver is one of the things I used. Just get in there and chip away at it. Didn't really have to chisel with a hammer. You can kind of push in with a sharp instrument and kind of chip away at this until the door worked again. I was a little bit scared at first that I'd ruin things, but this foam will pour once in its liquid form, will pour into any nook and cranny. And but overall, this is the gap filling going on. Had a lot of gaps in the floor, and I had to fill those in. And then basically saw it again and plane with the electric planer. So the next step will be to lay the floor back down, get it all level, lay it down, and start insulating the sides with foam. I have some 2-pound closed cell foam that foams up a lot more, is a lot lighter weight. And I thank you for listening, and we'll keep you informed on the progress of this van insulation. And please subscribe.